So the first person I'd like to introduce is Atlas Society CEO Jennifer Grossman, or as we all call her, Jag. While many of you may know Jag and her story of fearlessly leading the Atlas Society to new heights over the last 8 years, you may not know that one of her main passions is helping to curate our diverse array of online creative content, including, in the recent past, our Draw My Life animated videos. Can I have everybody up top make your way down here and begin to... Thank you.
Come down here. It's going to be
We're starting
funny.
the introductions.
I promise.
You guys don't want to miss this. All right. And most recently, she has been spending time on set helping to create our AI animated book trailers. She is joined today by Patrick Reasonover, writer and producer at Just Add Firewater, who is the creative genius behind our recently released AI animated book trailer for Atlas Shrugged, which currently has over 10 million views across all platforms. He is also the writer and producer behind many of our Draw My Life videos and our latest project, the AI animated book trailer for the Fountainhead, which debuted on YouTube just last week, I believe. So I'm going to pass the mic off to you, Jag.
Hello, everyone. So when I used to be in the think tank world. I was the director of education policy at the Cato Institute, and then I went and I spent about 15 years in the private sector. And so when I had a turn to come back to the think tank world, I was shocked to see that here we were in the business of transacting ideas, and that there had been a revolution in how ideas were transacted in terms of social media, and that there were not that many groups that were leveraging this technology and these tools. And so that was one of my first orders of business at the Atlas Society, was going to take the lead in doing that. Unfortunately, when I checked our budget at the time, which was less than a third of what our budget is now, for how much money that we had for video productions, it was like $2. So I had to get creative. And also, you know, as somebody who came from marketing, I wanted to be very specific about our audience. If we were going to be going after young people 15 to 30, that we did a very extensive study of what kinds of content they were consuming. How many hours online they were spending a day, specifically what kinds of content they were consuming, and then that's how we decided, well, we're going to get Ayn Rand's ideas and we're going to encapsulate them in this kind of content. My 15 years in the private sector was spent at Dole Food Company, and one of the things that, when Bill Gates and others wanted to cure this or that, whatever, in Africa, they saw, well, they're eating a lot of bananas, so let's find a way to input into bananas, into Dole bananas, these drugs or these, vaccines or whatever that can help people. So that's similar, like what are you eating, what are you watching, what are you reading? We found that, well, not reading books anymore, but they were reading graphic novels. Bingo. Okay, so we started on that. We saw that they were watching videos. What kind of videos were they watching? Well, at the time, there was a very popular viral video called Draw My Life videos, in which celebrities themselves would draw in stick figures the story of their life, and they would narrate it, and then that was on a whiteboard, and it was speed ramped, and it was not very sophisticated looking, but that was the key, right? Because we were at a time in terms of digital content where there was advertising and everything looked very slick, and there was a high production value, so that when you actually had something that did not look slick at all, it felt like it was more authentic and it caught people's attention more. And so we leaned in heavily to that. I'll tell the story of the first, and I thought at the time, well, this won't be that expensive. So I thought, well, we want to do a Draw My Life of Ayn Rand. Since we didn't have any money, I wrote the script. My name is Ayn Rand. I was born in February, and blah, blah, blah. I drew the drawings. I learned how to speak with a Russian accent. So I did the narration. I got a wig and I did the whole thing. And we were surprised because, like, okay, if we have 3 times as much of a budget now than we did then, we had 1/100th of the size of our social media footprint that we have. I mean, and that might, be more of an exaggeration. Yet, even with that teeny tiny little footprint, that first crummy, my name is Ayn Rand video that we did.
Your drawing wasn't that crummy.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'll get to that in a second. But that one little video got 1 million views within a week. When we had like, again, a postage stamp of a social media, so then we knew that we were onto something. And then again, when I was at Dole, I was like, oh yeah, our customers are the people that are buying bananas. No. Those are consumers. Our customers, the ones that pay us, are the retailers. So again, having to understand this division when it came to the nonprofit world, especially for a nonprofit like ours, our customers are you guys, right? And our consumers are you guys, right? So trying to make the case to our customers, our donors, our funders, that this stupid-looking, dumb meme, obnoxiously, I understand you're not a 15-year-old boy, but that's who our audience is. So please, help me bridge that. But then as a result, we did, in order to make that bridge, we got more professional. I'm just going to tell the story of Patrick, his involvement with the Atlas Society goes much, much back further than mine. As a teenager, he was going to the summer conferences, and so like this guy has got objectivism like in his veins, and he's extraordinarily creative. So for this very first Draw My Life video, there was another group that does videos who will not be named, but we were going to hire their, their producer, and we were doing it together. Now, I had very particular ideas, as Patrick can tell you, about how these videos get done, and he did not like that. So they pulled out, and I found Patrick, and the rest is history. Because, this guy is just so amazing. He's done not just, like our 50 Draw My Life videos that we've done. We've done live action together, and then we've done this AI animated project. So I'm going to just tell you the genesis of the AI animated project real briefly. So when I first came to the Atlas Society, one of the very first proposals that I put together for a donor was, hey, we've got to do a book trailer for Atlas Shrugged. All of these other best-selling authors, they all have, yes, there are movie trailers, but, the Jack Carrs, the big authors, they also have book trailers. Well, nobody saw it. Nobody was interested. So then fast forward 8 years later, I'm at a conference actually hosted by one of our honorees, Peter Diamandis, a technology conference. And at the time, everybody was buzzing about AI. And the one thing that everybody was buzzing about was how AI was transforming video production. And I saw this one video, and then I thought, that's what we want to do when it comes to the book trailers. So if we can just show a clip of that one, in just a few seconds of that, so you get a sense of what I saw, and then how we came to this.
Father always said that you were the more artistic one.
Have you forgotten you're my twin brother? The Creator dealt us the same hand of cards. I just played mine better. You missed the funeral.
I've only come for the part that matters.
I will not share the crown.
You will never wear it!
I've dedicated my life to governing, and the kingdom is on the precipice of starvation. The throne must be mine, or millions will die.
Have you forgotten you're my twin brother? We were born at the same time.
You can end it there, yeah. So anyway, what you saw there, those were real actors in a green screen that they then created an AI model. And so we were kind of starting from scratch. So I'm going to let Patrick take it from here in terms of how we accomplished the first one. And then we are not going to show you the AI animated book trailer of The Fountainhead. Our chairman, Jay LaPere, is going to introduce that tonight. But he's going to show a bit of what we've learned along the way, and also our very first book trailer of Atlas Shrugged. Those of you who were with us last summer will have already seen this, or who were at our gala. But anyway, Patrick?
Thank you. Excited to be here with you guys. Yes, so the first thing we're going to see is the Atlas Shrugged trailer, so you can get a sense of this was our first crack at the apple. I had wanted to do anime versions of Ayn Rand's novels because, an American animation is generally, there's stuff happening everywhere. It's The Incredibles. It's for kids. It's constant attention focus over here, very plot driven. The ideas have to be in there pretty deep, and there's no real opportunity for a discussion of ideas or reflection, really. But in anime, there is more of a focus of we isolate on a character. It's more like film. There's a huge amount of them that are made for adults. And so the idea that we can have an Ayn Rand story where the characters can think and we can have discussions and these ideas, it seemed like a really good fit. And then when Jennifer came and brought the idea of doing this AI, and I talked to Rob Capili, who's on our team, about it, saw this rock, paper, scissors video, boom, that's the way we're going to go. So this is the result of that first attempt.
I had to find him. No matter the cost, no matter the risk. Taggart Transcontinental ran like blood veins across the country, pumping food, steel, oil, and people. And I ran the railroad. Why have we stopped?
It's not my fault. Lights red, lady.
It's malfunctioning. You can proceed on my authority.
Who are you to tell me what to do?
I'm Dagny Taggart.
Miss Taggart? Yes, ma'am. Right away.
But no matter how hard or long I worked, my railroad and the world was crumbling around me.
It's not my fault there's too much competition. We needed the anti-dog-eat-dog rule, Dagny. I can't be blamed.
Directive 10289 is based on the noblest principle. From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs.
There had always been looters and moochers. But the men of mind were always there to innovate, to create more from less.
Rearden metal is half the weight of steel and 5 times as strong.
It's the first thing made of Rearden metal. A chain. Fitting gift from my husband, don't you think? Hideous. I'd exchange it for a common diamond bracelet.
Unless you're not the coward that I think you are, you'll give it to me.
Soon enough, they'll come for my metal. Then they'll come for us.
I'm sorry, Miss Taggart. Mr. Atwood didn't say where he was going.
I'm sorry, Miss Taggart. He just came in and he said he was done.
No, Mr. Hammond didn't leave a message.
Only now, those men were leaving, retiring, disappearing. Someone was getting to them. One by one, the men holding up the world were abandoning it. Abandoning me, just when I needed them the most.
Rearden steel belongs to everyone, not just one man. The age of the industrialist is over. Now is the age of the people!
Money is the root of all good. When production is punished and looting rewarded, do not ask who is destroying the world. You are.
If they believe that my mind is their property, let them come and take it. Fire!
Hank!
Dagny? Are you okay?
Look at this scrap metal. It was an engine. Look at the design. It pulled energy from the air. This could change everything. This could save us. The world.
Could have. It's in pieces. What kind of man would have left something so incredible to rot here?
I had to find and somehow stop him. We never had to worry about any of it, did we?
No, we never did.
So what we're going to do is look a little bit at the back end so you guys can understand the process of how we do this. A couple things I'll note, though. You see in that version how some of the faces are watery. We're seeing a lot of morphing transition in the turns and some character inconsistency where some look a little more cartoony than others. So I was just watching it, and those things, like, they kind of annoyed me before, but now looking after we've solved some of these problems, they're more annoying. In any case, so what you're seeing on the left is the storyboards from our storyboard artist. And so we have, some of them are drawn and some of them use like a 3D rendering software where you put in fake people to help us figure out like the lighting and where the positioning. And then what you see on the right is what we ended up with. So we write the script, or Ayn Rand writes it and then we edit it. And then we go through storyboards. Those go to Jennifer. We have a notes process. And then we ultimately try to render exactly what our boards were. In some instances, we don't nail it 100% or we change our minds. I didn't know that Dagny was blonde. She is blonde, right? She's not blonde?
She's not.
We sometimes have argument about these details.
But we, you know, some people.
I'm like, she's
I
blonde.
have an executive privilege, and I believe in blonde privilege, blonde supremacy. So
I was
think
told she
Dagny
was blonde by Jennifer. So she's blonde. Okay. And this is another one of these. You can see how, you know, the storyboard. This one's a little bit different in the framing. So we couldn't get the actress up as high as we wanted. And then you can see somewhat like how we do our final renderings in the backgrounds. So you guys saw these scenes. This is what we started from. This is where we wound up. Jennifer mentioned that these are actors. So all of the characters that you saw are real actors who are giving a performance. This is one of the ways I feel like what we are doing is an advance on anime. So if you've seen anime in a lot of cases, you definitely don't get full head turns and full actor emotion performance. It's just sort of impossible for the drawers to do that. And so when we can film a real Dagny who's reacting and there, that comes through. You can feel it in her, you know, the way her hair moves and how her posture and how she stands. So this ability to pull the actor performance into the anime using AI is a big plus. And so, you know, what we would essentially do, right, is so you take Dagny, she's got a green screen, we'll pull her out without the green screen, and we run this through this pretty complex workflow that is always evolving, continues to evolve. But if you can imagine, she has a shape, an outside shape. So we pull a version of the video with just her outside shape. Her eyes, nose, and mouth and shoulders are all in certain places. You know, if we just did a skeleton of her, right, we pulled the skeleton out. So we only pull the skeleton. Then there's a color palette. and we only pull the color. And then also basically this entire video is taken apart. She's taken apart and then edited using AI. You know, it could be like make the eyes wider apart. And sometimes they then have 3 eyes. AI did not like head turns. So we ultimately had an artist, because whenever the character turns their head and an eye disappears, the AI freaks out and then turns them into a monster. One of the differences in Atlas Shrugged is we used a 3D background, 3D artist. So we made an improvement on that with Fountainhead in the sense that, I mean, love our 3D artist. He's fantastic. But in that software, we essentially have to render almost after every single little change. And so everybody couldn't collaborate. We were sort of dependent on the notes process of communicating back and forth. Like, I want graffiti on the building. I didn't want the building made of graffiti. Yeah, this hand shot is really difficult. It's funny what AI is good at and not good at. So the faces, this guy's mustache you saw morphing crazy. If you watch it again, you can see he's got handlebars. He's got, you know, Hitler. He's got the mustache is just changing constantly. That it does not understand what fingers are. It thinks they're sausages. And so like that hand looks like something out of John Carpenter's Thing before we went to work on it. But you can see that there is also like the fabric on the dress comes through. Pretty cool, something very difficult for an artist to do. Okay, so we did this. We got a lot of views.
And we got somebody who, and by the way, not only did it get a lot of views, but in the ensuing weeks, sales of Atlas Shrugged doubled. So mission accomplished. It wasn't just that we did something creative, but what we wanted to have happen, happened. And again, Patrick can tell you, because I was also found a lot of these little kind of strange aberrations annoying, and you know that is always the way it was on us. And so I would kind of like show it to a donor, like kind of apologetically, and we had a couple of donors that said this is fantastic. We want to do a full, you know, length thing, and so we attracted funding for number one, the Fountainhead trailer, which I'm going to show you this evening, or Jay's going to show you. And then also funding for an Anthem trailer plus 4 one-minute scenes of Anthem. This is all kind of, you know, proof of work and a model for the possibility of doing a full length feature of Anthem, which would be the simplest because of the rights situation. But ultimately, I think we have created the team and we've created the expertise that if, you know, there's ever an interest in a full-length Atlas Shrugged, we can get it done. We can get it done inexpensively, and we can get it done quickly, and we can get it done right.
Yes. So whatever, we actually did Fountainhead, but we're going to go through Anthem first because we're going to show you something cool that nobody at the gala is going to get to see at the end. Okay, so with Anthem, what did we do? We got to figure out this character consistency. Drives us insane that the characters all look different. So at the top, we have our AI guy, Rob, spit out a bunch of images. This is equality from Anthem. And so we'll have him spit out a bunch of these images, and then these are, of course, based on a real actor. And then we make our pick and adjustment. But ultimately, we haven't really made them yet because we don't have all of them. This is Liberty. So we get a bunch of options. We give notes. We get more options. We take every character in the book, have like a palette like this, and then we pick the ones that match, right? Because we may think one of them looks really cool, but with the AI, we can't get another character to replicate. And you'll see that we had that problem in Fountainhead. So this is part of our new process where we nail all of our character boards and create a character sheet. In future things, next step will be create a 3D model based on the character that we like. So you can see our actress for Liberty. She was German, very cute on camera. Anyway, kind of nasty though when I heard her talking to her agent on her about our Instagram. You see the board down on the left, and then a possible rendering on the right using the character. Board on the left, we couldn't exactly get this shot, so we had to alter it, because otherwise we would have had to have our actors, like, I don't know, 8 foot above the camera, looking up at them. So we didn't, we just altered it, and I think it actually works better. And so you can see a rendering of our character. This is where in the novel, Equality discovers the hole, the subway. And oh yes, and so you saw Atlas Shrugged, totally done. Okay, well before we do any anime, it gets cut into what we call like a radio cut, where you actually are going to get to see the actors' performances and mixed in with some storyboards. And just be looking out for the sound on this, because I don't know, it's not mixed.
Calls Equality 72521.
Please name a scholar.
Street Sweeper.
The will of our brothers be done. We were born with a curse. It has always driven us to thoughts that are forbidden. We shall go down.
It is forbidden.
In our tunnel, we have made, discovered, a secret unknown to all our brothers.
We give you the power of the sky. Let us throw away our torches and candles, and let us flood our cities with light. Take it, and let us be one of you.
This thing must be destroyed. What is not done collectively cannot be good. Street sweeper. How dare you think you could be of any greater use to men than in sweeping the streets? You shall be burned at the stake.
Yeah, that actor, he was pretty scary when he did that. You know exactly what they're going to do when you come on and they're kind of doing their first take, and then he just, screamed at us all. Turned out.
So that's one of the scenes. Okay, just to be clear, yeah.
Yeah, so like Jack was saying, we're doing a full trailer, and then we're also doing these 1-minute scenes, which for a feature version gives us a lot of data in order to test it. Lets us show more without committing to the full thing, but it also lets us focus on key themes in Anthem to put out. So we're in the midst of doing that. We expect all of that to be done by late September, early October. It will all be out. Well, I don't know about out, but it'll be done. Okay, and then next is the Fountainhead. So this one is done, and you're going to get to see it tonight. So this is an early look at our characters, right? And this isn't like, oh, this is what we wanted. This is sort of what the AI spits out initially when we're looking at the actor. And the actor, are we is this going to go on the internet?
Yes, I would assume so.
Oh, okay. In that case, yes. So, as you can see, the computer interpreted him in a lot of different ways. And we don't have the one we landed on, actually.
Well, you might also mention that, again, we're trying to deliver an ROI. So we had a fabulous Howard Rourke, looked exactly like Howard Rourke.
You're going to see him.
Signed. Okay. And then that guy dropped out on us, flaked on us like the night before production. So Patrick had to scramble, go with a second character.
Right. Who was supposed to play Peter Keating.
And looked exactly like Peter Keating.
Yeah. Okay. Tui. So you're going to see Tui ultimately, and you see the actor, and he looks fantastic. But as you can see, we can all these things are pulled from one image. So that we have a lot of flexibility in terms of populating the character the way we want from the performance. With my ideal goal of removing all of the actors and playing them all with me and the director and the DP.
And me.
Yes, and Jack. Okay, so this is a look at like we saw before, where we're seeing on the left is the storyboard, and on the right, the final image. We improved our storyboard process where we're no longer going into a 3D thing and making crappy versions of it and spinning camera around to render out those storyboards. We're drawing and then using AI to populate the sky. So these storyboards, as it goes, are way more detailed than any storyboards we would typically work with. But they did give us an opportunity to weigh in on a lot of aspects, because they were detailed. And as you can see, aside from Dominique not looking like an elf in the final, they were pretty close. Here's another one where you can see in the top right, this is where Peter Keating is hoping that Rourke will agree to his deal to let him design Cortland and then put his name on it. And you see on the left, we have the office. And I told the team, definitely cannot have all this ornate book stuff. Jag will not like that. That does not look like Rourke's office. It's bare. And then we have at the bottom a scene with Rourke and Dominique. And we kind of had to rewrite this a little bit because Dominique is a very strange individual in a lot of ways. And it was difficult to, I think, make her make sense at all in whatever 500 pages that Fountainhead is, much less 4 minutes. And then here's like a final one where you can see on the left, this is the meeting at the temple with Rourke and Toohey, where we have like the greatest fuck you line in literature, I Don't Think of You, by Rourke. And then we see Toohey in what amounts to a kind of town hall. We sort of merged this town hall speech and trial for time. And yeah, that is, this is, if we want to watch the back end. Do we want to show them?
Yeah, you want to do that? Because we're not going to have time for questions, but we're going to be around, so you can come up and ask us later.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys get to see this. No one else has seen this other than our team. I don't even know if Jag saw this.
A building is alive, like a man. Its integrity is to follow its own truth. Its maker gives it its soul.
Mr. Rourke, we agree. We want your design. We're only asking for a few small changes to the facade. Can't you just compromise?
You, worker, why do you always stare at me?
Same reason you stare at me.
You better stop looking at me. It might be misunderstood.
I don't think so.
No one man had ever created anything in architecture or any other field for that matter. Rourke's Enright House is as independent as an insult.
It's like a statue I was once in love with. Too beautiful for the world.
Then are we in agreement? Howard Rourke must be denied any new commissions?
Pressure's a powerful factor. Once started, it leads to consequences that cannot be controlled.
It's a housing project for the poor. I can't design Cortland.
But you!
You can put your name on it, Peter. I don't don't care about that. But it must be my design, my way. No changes.
Don't let anything remain sacred in a man's soul. And his soul is no longer sacred to him. Empty his soul, and it is ours to fill.
Rourke, I love you.
To say I love you, Dominic, one must first know how to say the I.
Tie happiness to guilt, and we have man by the throat.
They ruined it, Howard. Couldn't stop them. What are you gonna do about it?
Look, we're alone here. You know what I've taken from you. Why don't you tell me what you think of me?
I don't think of you.
The ego of one man blew the noble goals of others to pieces. That man should forfeit his life. Society needs the right to rid itself of Howard Rourke's.
I would give the greatest sunset in the world for one sight of New York skyline. If a war came to threaten this, I would like to throw myself into space and protect those buildings with my body.
You're seriously thinking of building this way? My dear fellow, who will let you?
The point is, who will stop me?
So again, you know, we turn chicken shit into chicken salad, or they did. And a setback, we turned into actually a leap ahead, because now we have the ability not just to completely replace the look of any actor, but as Patrick demonstrated, that we can take any voice and use an AI model to change that voice as well. So yeah, so next time you hear a recording of a voice that sounds a little strange, just saying, no conspiracy theories, it can be done.
Yeah, thank you guys. Happy to answer any questions. It was a huge team effort from working with Jagged Atlas, but also director, DP, all the actors. It was funny watching our head of makeup lay across there, blowing her hair with a thing in the background. So thanks.
Yep. Thanks. You'll see how it looks tonight.
Do you want to do one or two questions?
Yeah, if anybody has a question or two, we'll take a couple questions.
Yeah, I can run, take one microphone and run it out. Oh, she's got one. Got it.
Thank you very much for this wonderful project. It was really interesting. So I wanted to know how the AI responded when you fed it. Did you try feeding it the old words in the novel, or you extracted parts? And Ayan's books are so interesting. How did you know which parts to extract, and how did the AI respond? Or you just fed it the old novel and it decided it?
There's more and more opportunities to extract. So moving from Atlas Shrugged, we were extracting certain details in various passes and building a workflow to deliver us what we wanted. But as the technology and the workflows have moved forward, then we're able to extract more details. You know, one of the problems we have that's very frustrating is lip sync. I personally would prefer that we didn't even have the lips. They were more like anime character. In anime, they don't actually even bother having all of that detail. But the lip sync is irritating. That, I'm told, is going to be fixed moving forward by like one of these data extraction tools. And the same thing with the eyes. We sometimes have to replace the eyes because they'll go cross-eyed or, you know, I don't know what, in the middle of the scene. Eyes will just disappear. And yeah, and it's because the camera is not able to see. It is, you know, if we light them properly in a dramatic way, maybe the camera just can't see the eyes.
I just want to say this is absolutely awesome. I'm not in animation or film, but I am in artificial intelligence, and this seems like very, very cutting edge. So I just had a few questions. You can answer some of them or none of them. When did you start doing this? Are you using Stable Diffusion? And the most important question is anybody else doing this? How ahead of the curve are you guys? Because it feels like a lot.
Yeah, so...
No one else is doing it. No one, certainly not in the Liberty space.
Well, yes, definitely not. There's no danger of the libertarians being ahead of the curve, except for the Ayn Rand people, hopefully. But the, us. And then so I think like, I don't know all of the technologies that are being used because it's a real mixture. And unfortunately, you know, Rob isn't here, and I didn't get some photos of his workflow, which you'd probably be really interested in seeing. He uses a variety of tools, but like the ultimate thing is sort of just like a home-cooked, built system to solve these problems. And then it's kind of grown organically as we've done each one. So there was no, a lot of people ask me like, oh, what software are you using? As though there was an out-of-the-box solution. I was like, man, I wish there was a software we could use.
They created it, and at some point you
Yeah.
want to consider commercializing it.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's very interesting, you know, the AI wants just to see everything, so you do no lighting on, or just have bright white light like we're in TV news. But of course, like the DP, the cinematographer, director, they want light because they want these cool shadows when we're moving in and out. And then so, okay, well, we can see the shadows, but we can't see the lips or the eyes. So we're still solving these problems, just this sort of evolving space.
All right, can we give a big round of applause? If you guys have more questions, you can ask during the break. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to tap that subscribe button, drop a comment, and give this video a like. If you really want to help the Atlas Society's work, then you can make a donation right here on YouTube or at atlassociety.org.